Hey there and welcome. You're listening to Westferry Times. I'm your host, Emily, and today we're really diving into a case that's captured a lot of attention. It's the federal trial of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs happening right now in New York. We're talking about extreme.
The core accusation is that he ran, essentially, a criminal operation, the racketeering conspiracy part, for about 20 years. And that this operation involved exploiting women through, well, coercion, violence, and manipulation.
Right, racketeering conspiracy. That implies something more organized than just isolated acts, doesn't it? Can you explain that a bit more?
Exactly. Think of it like an ongoing criminal business, a coordinated effort. The prosecution's argument is that Combs was the leader, the orchestrator of this enterprise, specifically aimed at exploiting women for sex.
And wow, if he were to be convicted on everything, what kind of sentence are we potentially looking at?
It's incredibly serious. If convicted on all these counts, Combs could realistically face life in prison.
Life imprisonment, that really underlines the gravity here.
It does. It shows just how severe the allegations are.
Okay, so let's shift to what's happening in the courtroom. Who are some of the key people testifying against him?
Well, a very central figure is the singer Cassie Ventura. Her testimony is quite significant. She's alleged years of abuse by Combs, physical assaults, being forced into degrading sexual situations.
And there's that video, right? The hotel video from 2016.
Yes, that's reportedly a key piece of evidence. It allegedly shows Combs assaulting her in a hotel hallway. Beyond her testimony, you also have others. There's a hotel security guard who testified about responding to a call, a woman in distress call, finding Ventura apparently injured,
Okay.
and then, quite strikingly, testimony from a male escort. He claimed he was paid to perform sexual acts with Ventura while Combs watched.
Wow.
And what's, legally interesting is how these different accounts seem to mesh on certain points, potentially bolstering the prosecution's case around Ventura's claims.
It's really disturbing stuff. What else are prosecutors using besides witness statements? What kind of evidence?
They're presenting a mix. There's video footage like the hotel incident we mentioned. There's the witness testimony, of course. And then there are accounts describing these freak-offs.
Freak-offs. What exactly does that refer to in this context?
According to the testimony, these were allegedly drug-fueled sex parties that Combs organized. The allegations include coercion, sometimes violence, and using drugs as a tool to control and exploit women involved in these events.
So the prosecution seems to be trying to paint a picture of a long-term pattern.
Precisely.
Oh.
They're connecting these alleged events, the testimonies, the video, trying to show it wasn't just random incidents, but part of this larger criminal enterprise, which, ties directly back to those racketeering charges.
Okay, so with all this coming out, what's the defense strategy? How are Combs' lawyers responding?
Well, his defense team isn't denying all activity. They've acknowledged what they call unconventional sexual activities and a swinger lifestyle.
Okay.
But their core argument is that everything was consensual. They're arguing these charges are overblown, exaggerated.
So basically, it was all okay because everyone agreed.
That seems to be the main thrust, yes. Their strategy appears focused on trying to discredit the accusers, suggesting maybe financial motives, questioning their reliability, their memory, their character.
It does raise that question, doesn't it? When you have multiple accusers, how effective is just saying it was all consensual?
It's a challenge for the defense, certainly, especially when corroborated by other evidence like video or independent witnesses.
Has Combs himself said much publicly during the trial? What's his plea?
His plea is not guilty to all charges. He maintains his innocence, but he hasn't made many extensive public statements himself, which is pretty standard legal advice, to avoid saying anything that could be used against you later.
Right, makes sense. This trial, it feels like it resonates beyond just Combs himself. What are the sort of broader implications here for the entertainment world, maybe even for society?
Oh, absolutely. It's potentially a major case when it comes to holding powerful figures accountable. It really puts a harsh spotlight on these longstanding issues or alleged issues of abuse and exploitation within parts of the entertainment industry. And you have to think there's a possibility this trial might encourage others who've been silent to perhaps feel empowered to come forward.
Yeah, I can see that. The bravery of one person or several people testifying could potentially open the door for others, but do you think this kind of case leads to actual lasting change in the industry? Or is it more likely a big story now and then things kind of slide back?
That's always the big question, isn't it? High-profile trials like this can definitely be a catalyst. They spark conversation, they force some level of introspection. But real lasting change, that needs more than just one verdict. It takes sustained effort, systemic reforms, looking hard at power dynamics, accountability structures, protections for vulnerable
So
people.
it's an opportunity, but not a guarantee.
Exactly. The intense focus right now creates an opening for reform. But whether that opening is truly acted upon in a meaningful way, well, that remains to be seen. It requires ongoing commitment.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful. Thank you so much for breaking down these complex legal issues for us and for you listening. Your perspective has been really helpful.
It was my pleasure. It's definitely a case worth watching closely with many layers to it.
And a huge thank you to you for joining us for this deep dive here on Westferry Times. We really appreciate you tuning in as we explore this significant and developing story. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll catch you next time.